Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, Marvel has done it again. Yes, Disney Marvel decides to erase the backstory, completely and totally change another one of its characters out there, all for the sake of either diversity, inclusion, or trying to avoid controversy, which is actually kind of funny because generally Disney has no problem sticking its nose right in the middle of controversy and getting themselves into all kinds of hot water and trouble in the past. But of course, when they can feel like they can get away with erasing a history that they believe is problematic or something that might cause them problems, or of course doesn't agree with their ideology, might get them backlash from their very own side, they have no problem doing that whatsoever. So a lot of people are going out there and speculating about information going on with the new Captain America, Brave New World, which used to be New World Order, which isn't actually really a Captain America movie because it's actually got Falcon, which is a wonderful, incredible character that can stand on his own and doesn't need to be passed on a mantle from some other person to be an incredible and wonderful standout character. I honestly believe Falcon could lead a movie on his own if they'd give him the right kind of writing. But of course, Disney doesn't actually believe in these characters, doesn't actually believe in a lot of these staple characters like Falcon out there, that they don't believe they can be successful on their own without, of course, giving them the mantle of someone else who is arguably a more popular character, but nonetheless, it's just a disrespectful thing to Falcon. Well, another character that they have no problem disrespecting in this new movie is none other than the Jewish superhero Sabra, and they are completely erasing her backstory. They are completely and totally changing it. And guess what, boys and girls? A lot of the fans of Sabra out there and what she represents inside of the Marvel Universe are not happy with it, and they are making their voices known because, boys and girls, a place that I didn't think we'd ever be making an article over, but the Jewish Chronicle themselves, the world's oldest Jewish newspaper since 1841, are not going to put up with Disney's Marvel erasure of a hero that they hold dear and a erasure of that hero's history. And boys and girls, neither are we. So we're going to check out this article. We're going to get into all of the juicy details of all of the evidence we have confirming that yes, indeed, they are completely and totally erasing the history of this character and changing it for their own reasons. But before we do, if you do enjoy our content, hit that like button, share it with all your friends, and subscribe and or follow if you are not already, because we have just crossed 800 on YouTube and Rumble, and we're inching our way closer and closer to 900, and we could not do that without every single one of you. Also, leave us a comment down below whether or not you knew the Sabra character as someone in the comic books that you actually knew and loved, or if this is a character you're not very familiar with, and you, of course, you're also have issues with the Walt Disney Company erasing a character's backstory, or do you think this is an acceptable thing to avoid controversy or not? Let us know all of that in the comments section down below. So she has been described as the great Jewish superhero. Launched in the 1980 in Marvel Comics superhero universe, itself created by American Jews, Sabra was the first superhuman agent created to serve the Mossad. But this week, Marvel Studios was accused of stripping Sabra of her Israeli identity, instead making her a Russian-linked agent in the upcoming film Captain America: Brave New World. Wow, so you couldn't even make up an original backstory for her? You're literally just going to rip off Natasha's Black Widow's backstory? Methinks the Walt Disney Company has zero ideas left. Oh, wait, I've been thinking that for a while. The creation of a new designized Sabra, played by the Israeli actress Shira Haas, comes amid speculation that the Marvel Studios has sought to avoid criticism from an audience bombarded with anti-Israeli propaganda. And once again, you literally hired an Israeli actress to play the character, and now you're erasing her Israeli background? Weird. Why is it okay to do that, but not for other characters with an ethnic background? The move has left Jewish Marvel fans reeling, with one comic book historian accusing the film company of Jewish erasure. While Marvel Studios announced Haas's involvement in 2022, it was understood that she would play Sabra and that the character would keep her fictional real name, Ruth Bat Sirva. The name has stayed, but Marvel Studios pledged that it would take a new approach to Sabra in the film. Color us shocked there. And how many times have we seen the new approach, the reimagining, happen at the Walt Disney Company, which means they're going to completely and totally change the character and use the name only for their own intents and purposes. Color us shocked there. And even if you don't have a problem with the erasure of her Israeli background, tell me what we've seen in the past from the history of Marvel. Tell me the character will probably not also act completely different than her iteration in the comics. Boys and girls, I'd love to be proven wrong, but history has shown me I more than likely will not be. description of the movie published on the company's website omits Bod Serif's Israeli background and instead describes Haas's character as a Black Widow, a Marvel figure who is linked to the world of Russian secret intelligence. They literally can't even get away with not using the name. There is zero talent left inside of Disney Marvel, boys and girls. In her guise in the Marvel Comics in the 1980s, Sabra was known for fighting for the state of Israel and was depicted fighting evil forces in Tel Aviv and by the Western Wall. Since the franchise announced Haas's involvement, it faced a backlash from supporters of the boycott, divestment, and sanctions movement. Campaigners have urged Marvel to drop the Emmy-nominated actress who starred in the popular Netflix series Shitzel and Unorthodox. In response to criticism, Marvel Studios said, "While our characters and stories are inspired by the comics, they are always freshly imagined for the screen and today's audience." Oh, you mean like what they did to the great Jack Kirby's Eternals? How'd that work out for you? Oh, that's right. You lost hundreds of millions of dollars at the box office and discredited and destroyed and attempted to damage the legacy of one of the greatest comic book legends of all time. A man whose jockstrap you would not even be worthy to hold. The backlash against Haas and the character has intensified since October 7th. It was understood that early screen tests of the film made by Marvel Studios, which has recently sought to increase diversity on screen, shout out to the, obviously, the Disney's not-so-secret agenda, led to changes to scenes and central plot lines. Reports suggest that the changes to Sabra character emerged from feedback from the screen tests, which, of course, where did they do the screen test to? Who did they do the screen test to? Who did have these reactions? Well, of course, more often than not, Disney screening tests only happen with Disney employees and their family. Considering the type of people that work for that company right now, and considering the kind of only people they actually hire for that company anymore, me wonders what opinions they had on situations in the Middle East. In a recently released trailer, the Israeli actress Haas can be seen alongside Anthony Mackie, who plays Captain America, Falcon. He's in the first black actor in history to play the role. In the original Marvel Comics, Sabra's superpowers included superhuman strength, speed, and a regenerative healing power, and the ability to charge others by transferring her life energy into them. That's a pretty great little saving thing for our teammate to have in a bad spot. The word Sabra is a Hebrew term used to describe someone who is native to Israel, and the character used her powers to fight against Palestinian terrorists after her son was killed in a bus attack. So a quality, good backstory as well. Comic book historian Sasha Complin, who is Jewish, says it does not specifically indicate that Ruth will be Russian. Either way, the Jewish erasure happening at Marvel, which has also occurred to Moon Knight, will likely happen when other heroes like Ben Grimm, Billy Kaplan, and others join the Marvel comic universe. There remains, regardless, a double standard. Soviet soldiers are okay. Russian heroes, Chinese heroes, no problem. But how dare we have an Israeli superhero? The ultimate evil to those harassing Jews and boycotting Marvel. Disney, which owns Marvel Studios, did not reply to a request for comment. And color us shocked there. And of course, they're not going to, because the Walt Disney Company doesn't care what you think. They don't care about the character's original history. They don't care about the character's backstory. They don't care about the original origin of any of these characters in the modern era. We have seen this happen time and time again, boys and girls. Look what happened to our dear sweet Wanda. They made her into a complete and total villain in her own show just for some other kind of nonsense reasons that none of us really understand. They've seen what they did to our dear sweet Eternals characters. It was absolutely horrendous what they've done, and now we see what they are doing to one of the greatest Jewish superheroes, someone who was probably specifically created to be an inspiration for the Jewish people out there. And now we see that once again, only certain protected classes are okay to protect at the Walt Disney Company, while ones that they consider, well, less than others, they have no problem with erasing a bunch of history because they want to avoid backlash from the people that they perceive to agree with them on a lot of these kind of things out there, and they will absolutely not stand or allow for any kind of pushback from that kind of nonsense. Disney are complete and total acolytes for the cult. We know the way the cult feels about Israel and a lot of the Jewish population out there. And ladies and gentlemen, this should come as no shocker out there whatsoever for another erasure of a wonderful character that so many people out there loved, that was an inspiration for so many people out there. And this is just another example of why everything Disney touches turns to dust, and everything they do will absolutely end up flopping. I cannot wait to see this Captain America, not Captain America, Brave New World movie come out, because I'd imagine it's going to be just exactly another disastrous dumpster fire from the Walt Disney Company. And burn, Disney, burn. You did it to yourself.